Okay. Uh, uh, Good evening, everyone. Welcome to an evening that has been dedicated to a club that has just become 100 today. There are very few clubs in India and very few in the world which have such credentials. The club has fantastic trophy cabinet which has built over the last century. Ideally, we should be celebrating this in somewhere like the Netaji Indoor Stadium, where it all started last year. But unfortunately, because of the pandemic, everything has to be stopped, and with humanity under duress now. So we cannot have any other option but to sit together at different places, use the technology, and talk about what East Bengal is all about. Uh, we have a very big, very nice, very diverse panel today. I will just introduce you the panel. We have Baichung Bhutia, we have Renedy Singh, we have Dr. Shanti Ranjan Dasgupta, we have Alvito Dikuna, a surprise guest, and we have Mr. Kushal Das. Baichung Bhutia, all of them have great credentials. Like Baichung Bhutia, Renedy Singh, Alvito Dikuna, they don't really require any introduction. But still, we have to say that Baichung Bhutia, one of the foremost strikers, icon of Indian football, the man who is the second youngest player to score for India. We have, and he's also the player of the century for East Bengal. East Bengal has named him the player of the century when it started the century celebrations last year. We have Alvito Dikona and we have Renedy Singh, who like Baichung Bhutia are primarily East Bengal because they have dedicated the greater part of their careers as East Bengal players. And as we progress along in the discussions, we'll come to hear more about them. We'll listen more to them, what they have to say about East Bengal, its trophies, all that has happened in the last 100 years. And we have Mr. Kushal Das, who has worn many hats, but presently he is the General Secretary of the governing body of football in India, the All India Football Federation. And we have Dr. Shanti Ranjan Dasgupta, a very renowned orthopedic surgeon of the city, but he is also the Assistant General Secretary of East Bengal, a man who has been associated as an official, as an administrator with the East Bengal for the past 22 years. Added to that, the fact is that Dr. Shanti Ranjan Dasgupta is also one of the pioneers, like in the sense that he was the first doctor to accompany a team with which East Bengal started. And he was one who recommended All India Football Federation sometime that every team should have a doctor. And it later happened. So AFF took up the suggestion and worked on it. And so we just go ahead with our discussion, which is East Bengal at 100, time to celebrate and introspect. So I will start with Baichung. Baichung, you joined East Bengal as a 17-year-old, your first professional club. So, and really after joining them, when we were picked up as a East Bengal player, you scored goals. So how do you go back to that time, and what are your feelings about it?
In fact, I was speaking a few days ago of me coming to East Bengal, but I think Mohun Bagan is a club that's associated with Sikkim quite a lot because during our time when we were kids, I think we had a very big tournament in Sikkim called Governor's Gold Cup. And Mohun Bagan team was regular coming to Governor's Gold Cup, and they won maximum number of times. So I think the fan following for Mohun Bagan, the connection with the fans there and with the government of Sikkim was quite big. People were actually quite surprised to see me signing for East Bengal because East Bengal was not so much known in Sikkim because they did not come and play Governor's World Cup.
Right.
But I think East Bengal is the club that's taken a chance, given a 17-year-old opportunity to come and play, and that's how my life started. And for me, as a growing up boy, when I played for under 16 India, I had come to Calcutta when I knew about East Bengal Mohnbagan. When I was playing, so getting that opportunity, given a contract from East Bengal was, I think, one of the biggest moments, obviously, for me in my life as well. And you know, the great thing was, coming to the club. I think the entire officials, the players, senior players, made me quite comfortable. It wasn't, it did not. The culture and the climates are obviously challenging, but overall, I think the atmosphere in the club was very, very nice. So it did not really put me onto so much pressure that I've got to perform and I've got to play well. It was more of officials and senior players, and my then coach Syamal was a very nice gentleman. So it was easy to really settle in East Bengal. And for me, it was more of getting that opportunity, excited as a 17-year-old boy playing for one of the best clubs in India. I wasn't too aware of the kind of passionate fans East Bengal had that time. So that pressure of the fans were not so much. But once I started playing, getting to know the club, I think then you realize what a big, big club it is with millions of fans all across India. So, I had a great start with my first match in East Bengal. I came in as substitute, scored that goal, I think fifth or sixth goal against Bangladesh Brothers Union. And that's how I think my life completely changed with that goal coming in. As soon as I scored, I think the fans just showed that emotions and the support. And that's how the journey started with East Bengal.
And you went on to become one of the finest strikers India has seen. So, Baichung, did anyone at some point early in your career suggest you, a senior player I'm talking about, suggest you to play as a attacking midfielder?
No, I always played as a midfielder and attacking midfielder. And, even when I came to East Bengal and started, I was always an attacking midfield. As I said, striker was when Rustam Agramov got me the first break into playing for India. That's how he dropped one of my icon players, one of my role models, IM Bijayan, from the national team. And which was big shocking thing for me as well to get to drop IM Bijayan. And then that's where he put me as a striker. And that's how I started playing striker. But I always enjoyed playing attacking midfield. So nobody suggested me during my playing days. It was Agramov who changed me from attacking midfielder to a complete striker.
Baichung and even the same questions for Baichung and Elvito Dicunia. Elvito, Baichung, you formed a formidable part of East Bengal that was dominating the Indian scene in the beginning of the millennium in this century, like from 2000 to 2004, when you won National League titles and also the ASEAN Cup. So, how do you look back at that time under Coach Subhash Bhomik?
Is that for me or Albito?
Both of you. So you take your turns.
Albito answer it because I'm...
Okay. Before this tournament, I remember that we had won 5 out of 5 tournaments, and that was my first year which I joined East Bengal in the year 2002.
Right.
We have won all the 5 trophies, and then it was in the year 2003 when we had our icon player Baichung Bhutia joining us, and the first tournament that we had to play was the ASEAN Cup in Jakarta. And I think that was a great start for us. There was no much pressure like, playing in the Calcutta League or any of the other tournaments and going for a big tournaments like the ASEAN Cup in Jakarta. So the preparation was good. We had a very good pre-season under Subhash Bhomik and a very good physical trainer in Kevin Jackson. So we had a good preparation in the Hyatt Hotel, and the team was really good. We had 7 to 8 players from the national team. We had very good foreign players like Mike Okoro, Douglas, and Sule Musa, the captain. And yes, it was a very good tournament for us. Although the start was not so good, losing the first match against one of the best teams in the tournament, Bacteros Asana. But
Right.
then, after that, we were unstoppable. And Baichung, as he was also the highest goal scorer, he was, a big turning factor for us, scoring goals in all the matches. And again, playing the same team that we lost in the very first match and then beating them convincingly in the finals. I think that was one of the biggest achievement of my football career. Although before that year, when I joined East Bengal, winning 5 out of 5, it's really a great achievement. But still, going for a tournament like ASEAN Cup and winning a tournament like, although India, we doesn't fall in that category playing in the ASEAN Cup, but then, you know, given an opportunity for us, and then we proved like what India are capable of. And with the team like East Bengal, what we were at that point of time, we had an outstanding tournament. All the players put in their efforts. And yes, the start for the 2003 season was really great with the inclusion of Baichung Bhutia from Mohun Bagan coming to East Bengal.
Right. Baichung?
No, I think the preparation was obviously great because ASEAN was a tournament which I think Subhas Bhomik wanted to really make sure that we win and perform very, very well. And it was, I think, for the first time, a club was invited outside the ASEAN region to come and play. So it itself was a big prestige thing. And obviously, those days, everything was hyped to, first time a team from Kolkata club was staying in a posh five-star hotel, which itself was a big, big thing those days. Now it's a very, it's a common thing. All the teams stays in big top luxurious hotels. So those days, I think staying in five-star was a big news. Second thing, obviously, bringing a fitness trainer during those days was a big, big thing. And I think Subhas Bhumik started that trend in Indian football as well. So entire build-up itself was a big news. East Bengal preparing, staying in some great hotel, getting fitness trainer, and I think during that time there was a lot of I think with the club officials also where I'm not too sure if they want to really put them into that kind of hotel and pay that price, but I think Kingfisher came forward and supported the entire pre-tournament facilities. So overall, I think the preparation was really, really good, and that's how I think we've been able to maintain that fitness and go on to win that historic ASEAN Cup.
Fine. I will just go over to Mr. Kushal Das. Kushal Da, what do you think about East Bengal turning 100 as an administrator and personally? What are your feelings at that?
Sorry, I was on mute. So I think it's a great achievement. 100 years. We have all grown up with the history and legacy of East Bengal. And I must congratulate the club. They are an integral part of India.
Yeah. So you have gone mute again. Hello. Hello, is there any problem? Is there any problem? Hello. Yeah. Hello.
Amitabh, we'll try to get back Mr. Das. You can probably continue with the other three panelists.
Okay. Is there any problem on his end?
Yes, sir, there's a problem.
We can
continue with that.
Okay.
We can see you and hear you, Amitabh. So
Right. Fine. Renedy, are you there? Renedy, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear. Yes. Yeah.
Renedy, you have had a substantial time with East Bengal as a player. The bigger part of your career was with East Bengal, and as a player, as someone who has played for India for a substantial time. So, how do you see East Bengal as a club that has completed 100 years?
Yeah. First of all, I would like to congratulate for turning 100. So many great players played, and I'm sure so many great players will come for East Bengal. And I got to know about East Bengal when I was when I was 11 years old, when we were playing under 12 All India under 12 tournament in Calcutta. So we were having the tournament in our side ground, and and that's when I got to we saw East Bengal players training. I think Krisanu was there, Chimaokiri was there, and I still remember, if I'm still remember right, PK Banerjee was the coach. So, and then while after our match, when so many people were watching the training, and I got to know how big East Bengal is in those days, when I was just 11. And after that, when and then I joined Tata Football Academy. So while I was in Tata Football Academy for 6 years, 1993, Jamshedpur is only 5 hours away from Calcutta, right? So then the Bengali newspaper used to come in KFA, and they were talking about a young sensation, Baichung Bhutia, coming in for 20 minutes, 15 minutes, and making a mark. And that's when we got to know more about East Bengal. And come 1996, I think KFA played against in Durand final. We lost in tiebreaker against East Bengal, and I was the one who missed the penalty. But after that, in IFSC, we beat them 4-0 in Siliguri when all these great players were there. So that's how I got to know. And then, but I joined Mohan Bagan first in 1997 when PK Banerjee was the coach, Monada was the coach. We all joined. Soso coming in, Samsi Raja coming in, Sankar Lal coming in, Tusarda was already there. And we had a great season, and that's when we scored 4-1 against Mohan Bagan, where Baichung scored hat-trick in front of 130,000 crowd. And I'm of course now when the East Bengal plays 180,000, 90,000, but we have never seen again that 130,000 crowd. So I feel privileged to play for East Bengal, what East Bengal fans has given, for so many years, the love they have given, the pressure they have given, the positive pressure. If you win the match, you are the best player of the world. If you lose the match, they will wait for you to abuse 3 hours after the match. Those kind of things. But I will always, cherish the moments, the years I have spent with East Bengal. Those were the best years, and that's how big in India. If we talk about the club, the culture, and East Bengal, I feel it's one of the best, if there's a supporting club, if I have to say, along with Mohan Bagan. Yes.
Thank you, Randy. We'll continue with Kushalda. Kushalda, what were you saying about your feelings about East Bengal turning 100?
I'm sorry, the connection went just as I was speaking. Can you hear me? Because I was muted by the host. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, yes.
Yes, I can.
Okay, all right. Yeah. So as I was saying, that for me, East Bengal club is history and legacy and an integral part of Indian football for a long, long time, and will continue to be an integral part of Indian football for another long, long time. So my congratulations to them for becoming 100 years old, and I hope they continue with the legacy and the history, and my best wishes to the club. I'm sure they will go places from here.
Kushalda, you won't find lot many clubs in India with that kind of legacy. There are few, of course, and mostly from Kolkata. So in a situation that East Bengal is right now in, so do you think, as someone from AIFF, as the General Secretary of AIFF, there is the responsibility of the national body to do something about East Bengal?
No, I think we have to understand. No, of course, we completely recognize the history and the legacy factor. But let me give you some background. We had a meeting in Kuala Lumpur where all the I-League clubs, the ISL clubs, our commercial partners, and the AFC was present. And with the consent of everyone, we came up with a roadmap for Indian football. And one of the things in the roadmap was that by the year season 2021, two of the
I'm sorry. Hello.
Line got cut again.
Yeah. Line got cut again. Yeah, Kushal, please continue.
So when we met in Kuala Lumpur, a roadmap was created, and there were all the ISL, I-League, the commercial partners, AFC was all there. And it was decided that up to the year season 2021, two clubs from the I-League can come in through the bidding process, but all the necessary regulations, including the financial commitments, will have to be adhered to. So that was the understanding, that was the roadmap which we agreed. So at this point in time, we are following the roadmap. And fortunately, Mohun Bagan has been able to come in. But the time period which was given was till the season, by the season 2021. After that, of course, then after the season 2021, then the I-League winners automatically come in on sporting merit to the ISL. So that is a roadmap which has been agreed by all the clubs, all the stakeholders, AFC, AIFF, and we are just simply following that roadmap.
Okay. Kushalda, if you think, as you said, if East Bengal walks on the roadmap given to it by AIFF, on which it has agreed also, do you think this season there is still possibility of it joining the ISL? Because it is the top league of the country, and East Bengal, Mohun, everyone has to be there.
I believe in the Nike slogan, nothing is impossible.
Okay.
Or so, impossible is nothing.
Fine. So nice. I will just move on to Dr. Shanti Ranjan Dasgupta with this question. There are a lot of people asking, putting out the question here, that when will East Bengal play the ISL?
There is actually the time. We are always hoping what Kushal Das was telling regarding the norms and all these things. We all agreed on these things. There is no doubt about it to follow all these things. So whenever it will be possible, we'll play the highest league. No doubt about it. But we can say that we will play from that day or those days. It's not possible for us to tell all these things at present.
Today is the 100th, East Bengal completed 100 years of its existence, grand existence. So what are your feelings right now about the club, its history and its future?
See, if you see the history, our birth of East Bengal Club on the 1st August 1920.
Right.
It was, due to some accidental moments and all these things, we came into the picture. Otherwise, we were in Jora Bagan or something like that. There was playing in this thing. I don't like to go back to that history. And from that particular point, the East Bengal Club took his birth. So it was always full of struggle on all these things. We never expect that anything we will achieve just what I call like a laddu. We'll have to achieve it anyway. And we are trying to establish ourselves. Though I know this AFC regulation and all these things, because this is a legacy club and we have got our old heritage. But at this point of time, we'll have to change our ideas also. It should be commercialized like the corporate team or corporate groups are doing. We'll have to go for it in the whole worldwide scenario. This is what is going on. So we'll have to adapt the same thing, and we are trying to reach that point. And when it will be achieved, that we can, I can't say exactly at this juncture.
One of our viewers has asked this question, the point that you raised, that
Yeah.
is East Bengal willing to take the Mohun Bagan way into ISL?
That is, that will depend on so many, views, what they are like to put some of the, clauses and all these things. Our group, East Bengal Club, they are studying all these things. They are talking with each other. And what I am telling you, Amitabh, our birth or our starting point is not very easy in any time in the last 100 years. We'll have to struggle and we have to establish. And I am 100% sure we will prove ourselves in the current scenario to establish East Bengal as a team in India.
I will go over to Renedy for a question. Renedy, apart from being a former player with East Bengal, you are also the president of the Football Players Association of India. And a couple of days ago, one day ago only, there was a caption. There was a letter from the FPAI about helping East Bengal to get a place in ISL. So, yes. What are your observations on this as a player and as the president of the FPAI?
See, as a president, I have to look for all the clubs in India, for all the clubs, for all the players who are playing in different clubs. I cannot personally, I want East Bengal, I want to see East Bengal in ISL for sure, personally. But being a president, I cannot look only for East Bengal. I know East Bengal has got a great history. East Bengal has got a great fan following. But writing a letter, it's not our duty actually, that we are here for the players. We are here for the players' betterment. We are here to support the players. But if I write a letter for East Bengal, then if tomorrow Gokulam wants to come, if tomorrow Chennai wants to come, then we cannot. That's not our duty. And of course, we can always say that as a personal. We can always say that, yes, I want to see. But writing a letter, that's not our job. And that's a mistake with one of our officials have done. But all due respect to East Bengal, I really want to see. But that is something we don't have to put our hand. That is something where internal matter, where the East Bengal official, FSDL, and IFF, they have to sort it out. That's not our job. So I hope East Bengal officials, they have been talking, like Kusalda have said, that they have through a roadmap, two was there, Baichung and myself, we were there. Sorry.
Yeah,
sorry. Yeah, Baichung and myself at Kuala Lumpur, we were there. So now Mohun Bagan is in. So this is something, it's internal matter where club and the different officials have to sort it out. Not the Players Association of India. But again, I having said that, I say it again, I really want to see, with such a fan following, someday I really want to see East Bengal playing in ISL, Indian Super League.
Your point is well taken, Renedy. I'll move over to Baichung and Elvito again. Baichung, can you hear me?
Yes.
Baichung, your playing days, during your playing days as a player, you have seen one East Bengal, and now you are seeing another East Bengal. You are you're putting your weight behind East Bengal. You have been there to the club, trying to help it out. So, what like in the flow of time, what are the changes that you have seen?
I think one of the biggest example what East Bengal will have to take is from the from Quest and East Bengal joint venture, which did not really go well. And it's sad that both the parties had to break up in not a good the ending and the breakup was not too good, and which obviously is not a good thing for either Quest or for East Bengal as well. So these are the kind of things which in future we should try and make sure that it's not repeated, because you don't want to have a bad reputation as a club in a corporate world. So it becomes very, very challenging, very, very difficult to get investors and sponsors if the club itself gets a very, very bad reputation. So those are things which we'll have to learn, and further in future we should not. At the same time, I think I was very glad to hear Santida speaking. I think they are obviously trying to change with time, and which is very, very important because football changes every year, every minute, and just not on the field while playing technically or tactically, but it changes off the field quite a lot. And that is where I think the clubs will have to cope up with those changes. And when I first came to East Bengal, I've seen how East Bengal functioned, and that was okay then. We had a nice window open for all the members to come and renew, and people used to line for hours to just get their membership renewed.
Right.
Now in 2020, you don't get that. You're not going to expect 100 people to stand outside the East Bengal club to renew their membership, because now I think with the younger generation of East Bengal fans are also doing quite well in life. They are also focusing on their own personal life. So we've got to reach out to them to be connected with the club and be associated. So we can't expect them to always come to the club. I think the club will also have to reach out to those fans. So I think these are the few things which, in terms of management, I think the club will have to change, and which I think it's good to see and hear Shantida, saying that the club is changing and coping up with times.
Change with the times. That is the operative word. Do you think, Alvito?
Yes, of course, Amitabh. Things were different. Everything was different when we first came here in East Bengal. But yes, times have changed now. There are a lot of corporates coming in, and yes, of course, the officials are trying hard to get in an investor or sponsors. But I know in nowadays it's not so easy. But we have to have professional people working if we want the future to be better. Because gone are those days wherein you could take things in a different way, as Baichung, as Shantida has also said. Yes, of course, the officials are thinking to take the club to a higher level, and which is a big must for a club like East Bengal. We can't live with the history of the past, what we have. It's good for a club like East Bengal to celebrate 100 years today. I'm proud to be associated with this club. But then if we want to take this club to the next level, we have to have people working, all professional people working in different positions. And, and that is how we can work together and try to take this club to the next level.
Right. Continuing with the discussion on this particular aspect, Kushalda, do you think, as an administrator, what are the steps East Bengal should take to get itself in the right order, in the right platform?
I think it is important. What Alvito says is absolutely right. And what Shantida also said, that you have to change with times. You have to get professional people. And you need to have departments. You need to have departments.
Yeah. There's a lot of echo.
Hang on. Sorry. Can you?
Yeah, there's a lot of echo.
Can you hear me now? There's a lot of problem with my internet connection today.
No, it's better. I guess. No, right.
Yeah. So I had to actually move on to. I was doing it with my laptop. From my laptop, I moved on to my mobile. Okay. But anyway, just to add to what Al said and what Shantida also said, you have to change with times. Everyone has to, and you need to have a professional setup. You need to have various departments. You need to have a sponsor servicing department. And what Baichung just said, that, the fact that East Bengal and Quest had to part ways is not a good thing. But then there are lots of demands and deliverables which you have to give to a sponsor or an investor. So it's important to have a specific department looking after it. Of course, the final decisions will be taken by the top officials. You need to have a competitions department where you decide which competitions to participate in, how to play in the various national leagues, and how to manage the logistics, etc. So, you need to have various departments to look after various functions. It's not good enough for one or two person to look after everything and then depend on the decision of the official. The officials have much more bigger things to look at. So they should not really get into the micromanagement of the operations. So that is where it is very important to professionalize, have the right people.
Shantida, is East Bengal thinking on transformation, as Kushalda just said, on those lines? Anything about this kind of transformation?
Definitely. This is the demand of the day. We will have to change in that thing. We are not doing anything new, as because we have got a great legacy and all these things. We have some ideas about this thing, but we have decided we should change to stay in this world, in this scenario. We will have to change everything, but
Right.
that cannot be done in one day. We are gradually changing up that, as Baichung was telling regarding this quest and all these things, which is an experience which is not good for us. So whenever we will take another step, we will have to think. Unfortunately, the COVID situation also put us in a very grave situation. If everything was okay, then I believe that we will have to manage everything in time. But as because of this pandemic situation, we will have to think in some other way. We are trying our level best to come up with this thing. What is the demand of the day? We will fulfill it. And we are, as Mr. Kushalda also say, we used to abide by the rules of the All India Football Federation all the time. We never talk anything, we can discuss anything, but whenever there is any circulation for us, for Indian football, we used to obey all these things. And we also discuss everything in very proper way. We should obey our superiors, our regulating authority. So this is the regulating authorities advise you go in this thing, and we also want that they should also come up to come up with the situation so that we can be put this Indian football in right path, because we are serving Indian football for the last 100 years. So we also like to have this thing for the another 1,000 years also. So we will abide by everything, but let us give the time, and we are trying. As soon as we will be able to manage everything, we will be in the picture, no doubt about it.
Everything started so. I'm going to Shantida only. Everything started so well with Quest, but somewhere it went wrong. So, what are your takeaways from your tie-up with Quest? And
well,
when you look at the future, what are the changes you are going to make?
Right. I should say we suffered some problem, because earlier there was Kingfisher with us. A sponsor like Kingfisher we will not get. I don't know whether we will get it or not, because they were very friendly. They used to look after everything. By Chung Albito all know that even the ASEAN Cup, Vijay Mallya was there with his full team to cheering up. So they were very much involved in the game and all these things. We put the fame of India also, not only the East Bengal. So, and we were very much interested that Quest will behave in that way. But unfortunately, due to some reason or other, it was not possible for us to continue. But we tried to continue with them, but they were not interested. Anyway, that is the saddest part, I should say, in the last few years. We never like to part from anything. We try to mix up with any problem. This is our legacy, our East Bengal's theme. So we like to, as Renedy, Alvito, Baichung, they all know this club culture is something. They can go inside the club, they can see how we are acceptable to them in any way. So in every field, not only with the players, in the administrator or investor, we like to be very friendly with them. But unfortunately, it was not possible for us to maintain all these things. So we will take care of everything, the past. In future, we will try to follow the right path. In other way, we are not out of criticism that we are the only right person. Somebody who was attached with us, they have done the wrong. This is not true, because there was something we were not able to make them understand, to have with us. That is our difficulty, I think. But I think in future we will get a very good friend, very good investor or debut sponsor to run this East Bengal club to get fame for the Indian football, which we used to do every time to keep India's head up in this area, football.
Kushalda, someone has put up a question for you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
It is about a lot of political heavyweights in Bengal putting their weight behind East Bengal to be included in ISL. What do you think about that?
See, I explained to you that there was a roadmap which was agreed by all the stakeholders of Indian football, and we are following that roadmap. So we also have to understand that this roadmap has been approved or certified by AFC also. And if you deviate from this roadmap, then AFC will definitely ask us questions. So we are simply following the guidelines, the roadmap, which has been given to us and which has been agreed by all the clubs.
That's fine. I will move over to Baichung. Baichung, there is a question for you. Someone has asked. I'll get the name for you. It's an anonymous attendee. Anyway, Baichung, in East Bengal jersey, which has been your favorite match so far? Is it?
It's a very, very easy question to answer, and I'm sure you've heard it 100 times, million times from me, and that's obviously going to be the.
Still, people want to hear you. Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be that derby match 4-1 in front of 130,000 people, which was itself a historic match, and record-breaking spectators.
The first hat trick in a derby.
And first hat trick in a derby, yes.
That's right. I will move over to Shantida. Shantida, there is a question from Kaushik Bhattacharya. He said, Dr. Dasgupta, why are we hesitant to give 80% to the investors?
No, that is, it's a very easy. We can give 100% also. Right. What will be with us? What will be the legacy of East Bengal club? It's not the percentage. It is the prestige. It is the fame, everything. So it doesn't sense we are playing football or all these things. You can't just lose your opinion, or you can't cut your head in front of something. You'll have to go ahead. So what will be the right thing for the club, for the prestige of the club? We will maintain that thing, we will do a thing. Mr. Bhattacharya, I will give you the assurance, don't be afraid of, we will do whatever in process, in line of East Bengal team, we'll do it. No doubt about
it. This is a question anyone can take. This question comes from Devanjan Chakraborty, who is the director of British Council here. He says that as a fan of Indian football and also of East Bengal, I think it is a win-win scenario for the game in India if East Bengal were to play ISL. Without two of the marquee clubs playing together, ISL never really picked up in terms of fandom. What do you think?
Exactly, Amitabh, I am telling you, this morning, what Subhasda was telling, the East Bengal people should not worry about all these things. They should wait. That Indian ISL Super League will not fulfill without East Bengal. So East Bengal should get prepared for that. We should not worry about all this. That is the answer, nothing else. And ISL will be total shape, total fan-based, club or tournament, because there will be Mohun Bagan and East Bengal. We know that these two is the most rivalry people. In the football is emotional game. We need that thing, and that will come, and that will fulfill the what AFC wants. That there should be the roadmap for this thing. And I was in that Kuala Lumpur meeting also. That was the theme. I believe that the Secretary General was telling that apple is apple, guava is guava, but you can't mix two things, because the legacy is needed and the commercial is needed. You should come up in that roadmap, and we are following this thing simply.
East Bengal definitely is one of the clubs with the biggest fan base in the world. Baichung, your take on this?
See, I think it's very important for ISL to have East Bengal in the top league, and it's going to lift the league up. And at the same time, it's important for East Bengal to play in the top league as well, because the club also would go there. That I think nobody would dispute that, because I think East Bengal is one of the biggest club with the biggest fan following in any, compared to any clubs in India. So that nobody disputing it. But their problem is, in terms of, somebody had asked about shares, 80 to 20% share. Is that East Bengal officials willing to give? Now, Santita just said, obviously we're not going to sell out everything because we need to look at legacy. Now, who's going to decide that? Who's going to decide that that investor is a right investor and this guy is not, and this guy is yes? Are they going to bring whatever the contract they are signing to the entire East Bengal fans and say, these are the terms and conditions? Are they going to show it before it's signed? So, obviously, for a player and a fan of East Bengal, I would want to see East Bengal playing for ISL. But is it ISL allowing FSDL is going to allow us to play the league without any terms and conditions? I don't think they will allow it. Right. And when you have the terms and conditions, is East Bengal getting those terms and conditions fulfilled? That is another challenge. So, those are things which you'll have to look into it. And as I said, I think East Bengal is definitely going to play ISL, whether this year or in future. But the most important thing is also to make sure the club is also organized and is ready. Tomorrow, everything is allowed and we are allowed to play ISL this year. Then we need to, make sure that we are coping with it. We are, we are being able to sustain ourselves. That's very, very important. And just we want to play ISL, and then ISL allows you to play, FSDL allows you to play, and then you are not organized as a club and you can't sustain, then I think the idea of playing ISL does not happen. So I think we need to plan up. Obviously, we want to start playing ISL from this year, but at the same time, the club has to be organized, has to make sure that we sustain ourselves in the long term, because when you play ISL, it's just not playing. You want to win the ISL. And I'm sure after a few years, there will be again relegation as well happening. Now only after 2021, there's promotion happening for 1-2 years. But after a few years, there's a relegation happening as well. So for that, I think the club has to be sustainable to make sure that you're producing the players, you're able to buy the players, and you're able to invest and make club grow. So those are things I think club will have to worry as well, just apart from just wanting to play in ISL from this year.
Can you hear me? Hello,
Yes.
Can you hear me? Mike, obviously I'm taking it forward to Elvito. Elvito, as someone who is closely associated with East Bengal, what are your take on the suggestions that Baichung put out?
See, it's a good suggestion. I mean, in life, if you want to do something, you need to always be prepared. You can't just go unprepared. Even during our school days, if you don't prepare yourself well, I don't think you're going to do well in your exams. And if you don't do well in your exams, that's when you know where you stand compared to the other students who are in your class. So it's the same way, we have to have the right people. We have to, look after certain things. And yes, and once we are ready, we should try and grab this opportunity. I mean, as Baichung rightly said, I mean, if it happens this year, if we are really prepared from this year, we should get into ISL. But if we are not, there's nothing called as we are late. Because as much as ISL needs East Bengal also needs to play in the ISL. But then, yes, we are in a league. We are waiting for this opportunity because everybody now knows ISL is the #1 league in India. So it's a dream for any footballer to play in the ISL. Even the players that we sign, they keep messaging, they keep calling and asking whether we are going to play ISL this year or not, because they have all come playing from the ISL clubs. So their also dream is to, see that East Bengal is playing ISL this season. But to me, I think no matter in whichever league East Bengal plays, as a player and as an ex-East Bengal player, for me, if you really ask me, I would say that, no matter if East Bengal plays in the ISL or I League, it's definitely going to be one of the best clubs in India. But yes, we all know that, ISL is the #1 league. We want to play in the league from this year, but then are we ready to play in the league? Do we have everything, in a proper position that we can go and play the league? It should not just be like we just got into ISL and then we are not prepared. In every term, we should really know that, okay, we have people in different departments who are working for the club, professional people, and, going and playing in the league, which is not going to be too easy, because all the clubs, they are already there in the ISL, they're playing, they know how to play. I mean, not in terms of football, but then off the field as well. You need to have professional people working. And it's not just a matter of 1 year. It's a long-term vision that you need to look into. So I think keeping all these things in mind, as an ex-East Bengal player and currently working with East Bengal, I would love to see my club playing in the ISL from this year itself. But if it doesn't happen, I think we can just wait. And as Kushalda also said, this year, the winner of I-League has a chance to play in the ISL next year. So we might have to go for that opportunity. But then, as an East Bengal supporter, again, let me repeat my words. I would love to see my club playing in the ISL from this year as well.
Alvito, okay, fine. Alvito and Randy both. What is the message that East Bengal needs to get out to the sponsors to be able to generate the funds that is needed to join the ISL?
I think Randy is senior to me. That let me answer first.
Randy, please.
Yes, to see, I think this is the thing where East Bengal, we all talk about how badly East Bengal want to go to ISL, because of the fans, because of the legacy, because of the culture. But I have played in East Bengal for 6 years, and I have seen when we played in 1997, those days East Bengal were one of the best clubs. So we didn't have any complaint, coming from TFA, those fan following, organization. But now, after I was in Kerala Blasters for 1 year, I was in as assistant coach in Pune City, and I know how organized Indian Super League is. And I have seen East Bengal also. But now comparing East Bengal now and to the ISL Cup, I still feel East Bengal have to be really, really organized. And they have to work, like Satida said, they have to work really, really hard. And I know to get a sponsor is very, very difficult. But at the same time, like if they don't play this year, if they play next year, and that's the time where East Bengal officials have to work to be a successful team on the ground, off the ground, behind the scene. You have got so much of work to do. But if you see in Indian Super League, I was a coach and I played as a player, and we just have to concentrate on the training field, nothing else. And to give that for the players and the coach, there are so many things behind the scene which I feel East Bengal is not ready yet due to the sponsor. And I know to get a sponsor is you need time but East Bengal official has to do that. Otherwise, with so much of fan following, people, fans are waiting to see. But fans should also see that what East Bengal officials have to try. If they don't try, maybe next year they should try. And that's the time they should start having in a professional manner. They should start working in such a way that, East Bengal in the long run, like Baichung said, now it's a promotion time. After a few years, there will be a relegation also. But what if you're not organized enough, if you got relegated? And within this time, you have to have all the structure, right? Like I have read about East Bengal trying to come up with a reserve team. East Bengal, they have to have that youth structure. All these things they have to, not only off the ground and on the ground also. There are so many things East Bengal has to do more to be in the Indian Super League. But yes, as a player, as a former captain, I really want to see.
This is a question for the three of you. Lot of our viewers are asking whether Baichung, Elvito, or Renedy come in as administrators, and will it do good to the team?
I think that's a question for it will be better because I'm a coach. I would rather concentrate on my coaching career.
Okay.
I think it's because Baichung or Albito, who is already managing. I think that's a good question for them.
So Baichung and Albito, do you think that the players, if they put in their weight, pull in their resources, they can help the East Bengal come out of this crisis?
See, let me just answer this because as I told you all yesterday that I've got one more show to do with another channel. So I'll just give a quick answer on this, and before I leave. Yes, I think, ex-players getting involved, and especially players like me, Baichung, even Renedy, although he's a coach with club in Manipur or the youth development and also the president of FPI. It's very important to players be associated with a club like East Bengal or any clubs, former players as we call them as, because they know in and out about football. I mean, they know a lot about football. The knowledge you can share with the footballers and the experience can help for the players to develop, and also we can also give a lot of inputs to the officials. And especially in the modern scenario, because football, as we all say, it's a day-to-day. I mean, there's a new things which we get to learn every day. It's not like the past. You be a coach maybe 2 years back or 5 years back. You pass your A license and then you can still be a coach. But now it's a recession. It's a recession period where every day it's like a learning process. So gone are those days, as I said before as well. Coaching is become a vast experience. And also the experience of ex-footballers, especially I've been with East Bengal club for the last 18 years. So I can, if the club gives me that responsibility, I would just love to, because, I can share a lot of my experience with the players, with the officials, and what is needed for the players, for the management. That's very important. Amitavo, with this, I would just like to thank you for giving me this opportunity, for being a part of this show. Kushalda,
so nice you are there, Albito.
Yeah, Kushalda, thank you so much.
Otherwise, we'll move out.
Shantida, Kushalda, thank you so much. Renedy, Jugadar, see you soon, brother. Baichung, see you soon, brother. Bye-bye. Bye.
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 Kushalda, can you hear me?
Yeah.
I think he has moved out. Anyway, we are also at the end of this discussion. We'll have to wrap up. Baichung, there is a question from Shubhashish Mukherjee. He says that even Renedy should take it, which is a more difficult thing in the sense of in terms of fan pressure to play for East Bengal or Mohun Bagan.
I think let Renedy answer that, but I'll answer to the question before, which I think somebody had asked about, players getting involved in management of the club.
Getting involved in management, administration.
It's not about me getting or Albito or Renedy getting involved in running of the club. We all can get involved and would be happy to help East Bengal or any other clubs which is there. I personally have been running United Sikkim, and we also have a biggest grassroots football program with Calcutta Football School. The most important thing is to get right set of team to really work with. You can't achieve or get success with just me wanting to run East Bengal club. When you're being part and running the club, you need to have right set of people around to do it. And I can give you an example with United Sikkim. We had the right kind of people, we had right sponsors, we had right investors. Within 1 year, we went on to qualify for the I-League. A small club which was just born a year ago, with the right set of team, we went on to qualify and play in I-League. Now, obviously, that particular year in I-League was a very unfortunate thing for us because the chit funds were so big in India and in Kolkata and in football that some clubs from nowhere started paying from 10,000 rupees salary to 50 lakh a salary to players. so we could not match up with that kind of money, because if you look at those times, teams like Prayag had a budget of 20, 30 CR. They were paying players, defender, from 20 lakh, 30 lakh salary to 1.10 CR. For a club which was United Sikkim just born, was very difficult to match. So we could not compete in financial thing and get the players, so we got relegated. But I'm just trying to say is that, we qualified when we were at the same competition level. We had the same kind of budget, the finances in the second division. We managed to get in there. So that experience of, running a club, obviously I've done it for now almost 10 years. So I have that. So you need a great team to work, even including Baichung Bhutia football schools as well. I think we are one of the biggest grassroots football program in India today, with more than 4,000 kids in different parts of the country training. We've got almost more than 100 centers. And these are all possible with the right knowledge, right support system, right people running it. And, the valuation of the football schools are also quite high, BBFS. So you need a good team to really succeed, to really make sure that the club where I'm, if East Bengal, I have to work with East Bengal, to really have a good set of people to really work in kind of the level what we want to think to take the club forward. That level of thinking has to match. And if that does not happen, that is where your quest in East Bengal happened. It just did not match. They wanted to do something, the club wanted to do something. So you need to really try and adjust to all the environment, know both the sides of this, of their ambition and their willingness to take it, and try and balance it and take the club forward. So for me, I think it's important that you need to have right set of people to really work and take the club forward.
Right. Really coming to that question.
Oh yeah.
From one of our viewers.
I think playing in Calcutta for 12 years, I think, the demand is quite high. If you lose the match, we all remember that, there are fans standing and waiting for 3 hours just to abuse you. That's the kind of pressure. But then when the demand is so high, when 1,30,000 people watching, you don't want to lose. You don't want to be on a losing side. So with East Bengal, I know if your matches are not going well, right from the warm-up, they will start abusing. So we have seen that. But at the same time, if you win the match now for at least 1, 2 hours or 3 hours, you feel like you are the best player of the world, even though we are not. So that's the fans make you feel. That's the fans in Calcutta especially. So yes, East Bengal fans, that's why we have seen there were so many players, young players couldn't make it, but they have played well in Goa or wherever. But when they come to Calcutta, not everyone was successful enough, the good players. So that's the pressure, but then that's a positive pressure. Being in Calcutta for 12 years, that's what we love. That's why we still would love to go to Calcutta and spend time. And what a lovely time. And I always said, I will always cherish the time we spent over there in Calcutta and with East Bengal. Yeah, we had a lovely time. Yes, demands are quite high. And that's how it should be for a big club. The demand should be high so that players are on toes so that they can give their 100% best on the field.
Right. See, Amitabh, I'll just add that answer to which was a tougher club to play. I think both the clubs are very difficult and tough to play because both the clubs are followed by millions of fans across India. And it's a legacy, historic club. Both the clubs are iconic clubs. So it's difficult to play in both the clubs, and also at the same time easy to play in both the clubs. The difference with the fans is not there. I think both the clubs have passionate fans who really support their team till the end. I think the fans are equally supportive, passionate in both East Bengal and Mohun Bagan. With East Bengal, in terms of officials and administrative, what I've experienced, this is my personal experience. I think with Mohun Bagan, officials were more matured in terms of, in terms of the dressing room, in terms of players. The East Bengal officials were very, very passionate as fans. I think a lot of the club officials in East Bengal tend to become fans as well. They forget their officials, then they tend to become fans. Whereas in Mohun Bagan, I think the maturity with the officials were there. I'll give you an example. The intention of East Bengal officials are not bad. When you have a match going on and you have a first half, and your first half did not go well, and you might be a goal down, you will see 10, 20 officials inside the dressing room of East Bengal and shouting from different corners, all of them. not in a bad intention. Obviously, they want the team to do well. They want the players to play well. But sometimes there are a lot of ways where to motivate the players might go completely wrong. That's where I think East Bengal officials, most of the time, I'm not saying everyone, but most of the officials in East Bengal were very passionate, emotional, did not control it, came in the halftime after the match. If you lost the match as well, you'll have 50, 60 officials shouting everywhere. It becomes a big tamasha. Whereas East Mohun Bagan, I think that was much, much lesser because the officials were more matured in terms of handling. So East Bengal officials were passionate, really, they give everything for the club. But sometimes to really motivate and get best of the players, they did it in a way that could damage the team and hamper the result of the matches. So that experience-wise in the officials was there in both the clubs. So that I have experienced.
Amitava, if I have to go back, that's the professionalism off the ground you have to maintain. That's the discipline you have to maintain, to be a successful team. It's not only on the ground, behind the scenes, they have to do a lot of work, there is no ending in learning because there is still time. It will get better, but the sooner the better.
Thank you so much for being with us. I'll just wrap it up. We have heard a lot about passion, commitment, things which have been associated with East Bengal. So with such aspects being associated with the team, Dr. Dasgupta, what do you think is the way ahead for East Bengal now?
One thing is that this is a comment from a player like Baichung and Renedy. They experience all these things.
Right.
I like to accept it in that way. I can't challenge it. This is their feeling. They should say like this. But what they are telling, if thing is so, this discipline, which is needed everywhere, off the field, in the field, everything, we believe it, no doubt about it. And that rectification, that thing, what we are learning from them also, they are telling as a player, as an iconic player of India, both of them, they played for India. So they are feeling for us, East Bengal, in that way. This is the wrong thing. What we should not do, we should be thinking in some other way also. So that is a lesson for us also. That is what they are telling. But definitely we will try to make everything in very good shape so that we can run in future in a very right way, so that our ex-player can come, advise and tell something, and we are always open to take their advice. What should we do? And Baichung also know, very recently before lockdown, we also talked about this, what should be done. He also give our suggestion, and everything we are trying to rectify.
Okay. I think we are reached the end of the time that was given to us. I would thank all the panelists, Renedy, Baichung, Elvito, Mr. Kushal Das, Dr. Sandrian Dasgupta for being with us, and also thank ITM University for sponsoring this program, this discussion. So looking ahead to a very like the time that East Bengal has spent, the 100 years of success and achievements, we hope that East Bengal will have similar things happening in the future. So on that note, I will thank everyone and say goodbye to all our viewers.
Thank you, Kusalda. Thank you, Sandida. And thanks, Amitavo. And East Bengal, congratulations once again. And I wish all the best and have a great year. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.